Know that there can be some New Year's resolutions that might not be so good for us. Well, to unpack that, talk about that, is our guest, Jody Baumstein. She is a licensed therapist with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Strong for Life. And Jody, thank you for being here, because I'm not familiar with that whole notion that we can have some maybe not so healthy New Year's resolutions. What's that about?
Well, thank you for having me. It's good to be with you.
You're welcome.
I think it's less about naming something as good or bad and more so thinking about why are we doing it in the first place.
Okay.
I think a lot of people fall into this trap of just doing what they think they should be doing, right? Okay,
I should be eating better, I should be exercising more, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Should.
And it's based on should, which is a belief that it should be a certain way, and that's where we get into trouble, because we're kind of hustling based on comparisons to other people. And what we need to do is really think about what we need, but so many people aren't sure what that is. And I would say the majority of people that I've ever worked with are struggling with that. We need to slow down and figure out what it is that we feel, but a lot of times we're so busy, overcommitted, overscheduled, even if it's smacking us in the face, we won't recognize it.
So here you think, okay, we're going to add something like, you know, I should eat better, rather than you're saying maybe slough off some things?
Possibly.
What a concept.
Yeah, possibly. You know, we often think in terms of deficits. I'm not doing enough. I'm not enough. I need to add more. And a lot of times people will say, like, I don't know why I'm stressed. I shouldn't be stressed. I shouldn't feel this way. I should be able to do it like my sister or my friend.
Or when I see somebody on social media saying that they do, or
Right.
it appears that they're doing.
Rather than tuning in and thinking about really what's going on and assessing the situation, sometimes it's hard because it's hard and not because you're not doing it well enough. So it's really about asking yourself what it is that you want and then going for that. But again, if we're not even aware that something's missing or something could be better, we don't know where to start.
So how do we develop the ability to become more aware?
We have to slow down. And that feels really intimidating for some people, especially if that is a way that your brain has tried to keep you safe, meaning you keep going, you do more, you're the busy bee, you're overly productive. Sometimes that's the brain's way of keeping you safe. It's a path to safety, and if you slow down, the brain feels threatened. So what we need to do is give ourselves permission to stop. And again, acknowledging that that can be really unfamiliar, but unfamiliar doesn't mean bad, it's just new. But slowing down and really tuning in. Now,
You know, I have to tell you, I just realized, I think I was holding my breath while you were talking, like, slowing down, you know.
Right.
It's like breathe, maybe
Yes.
that's part of slowing down too.
And I love that you said that, because that's exactly it. We could talk all day about all these things we should be doing, but if we don't get to the root of why those things are a challenge or why we struggle to do the things we want, we're not going to get where we want to be. So what you just experienced kind of sums it up. We're scared of our feelings. Have you ever noticed? We are scared that we won't be able to handle it. We're scared because of judgment. We're scared that if we acknowledge it, if we say something out loud, we'll crumble. And so part of it is we have to accept that whether we name it or not, our feelings will seep out of us. Dan Siegel, he's a psychiatrist, he has a great saying, name it to tame it. And the idea behind that is we can't really heal what we can't name.
Now, can you give us some examples of that?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Okay, perfect example is the person who says, everything's fine, everything's fine. And then I start asking questions. How are you sleeping? Oh, well, I'm not sleeping. It takes me 2 hours to fall asleep, but then I wake up a lot. Okay. How are your relationships? I feel on edge. I feel really heightened. I feel like the littlest things happen with my child, my spouse, my boss, and I snap. So what I'm saying here is that if we don't name it, it will come out of us in other ways. Whatever we resist will persist, if you will. So if we could avoid it and we could numb and suppress and all these things to try to run from our feelings, but they will find a way out.
And when they do come out, what are some of the ways that they do, with angry outbursts, that kind of things?
Absolutely, it can be that kind of stuff. It can also be the chronic pain, so headaches, stomach aches, tension built up in the body. I mean, even so much that you could have tension in your jaw from not saying things you want to say.
TMJ.
Could be,
where you
sometimes.
lockjaw or whatever that is. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. And yet, in so many ways, we live in a stressful world. We live, many of us, in I would say, in a world that really wants us to be busy, invites us, celebrates us, that, if you will, being productive, doing, seeing, feeling, experiencing, that constant go, go, go. So I think, how do people slow down?
Self-compassion, I think, is a really important concept to wrap our head around. And for everybody who's kind of rolling their eyes, and I know it sounds fluffy and kind of hoo-hoo, but the reality is we can't do any of this without self-compassion. And it's this idea of kind of looking at ourselves with kindness rather than criticism, and slowing down and being aware, but not to the point where we're getting stuck in it. And then this sense of common humanity that I recognize, I am not deeply flawed, I am not broken, we're all imperfect, we're all human. And I bring up self-compassion because I just find across the board this is a universal human struggle that everybody deals with. And we have this idea that we should be better, we're not good enough, all of these things. And it's related to these core beliefs that we have that start early in life. We're not born with them, though. It's something we learn, and it's kind of the lens in which we see the world. So if I have a core belief that it's weak to show feelings, well, guess what? I'm not going to do that. And if I even hint at it, it's going to feel so threatening to me, I'm going to shut it down real fast.
And I suppose that there are different cultures where showing feelings, is culturally unacceptable, while others, it might be more so for, let's say, one gender over another. Maybe historically, women, it's okay in some circumstances, and and it's not okay in other circumstances. Oh, there she's overtly emotional or what have you.
Right, absolutely. And at Strong for Life, we're really working on shifting the narrative around resilience. We know this is a buzzword and we're trying to redefine it, but what we're talking about is it's not strong to push through and suck it up. It's strong to sit with your feelings and name them and work through them, not around them. And these narratives, whether we are aware of them or not, they're floating around and they're affecting us.
And Strong for Life, by the way, that's a program at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta for prevention and working with kids?
Yes, absolutely. So it's through Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and it's really focused on the whole child. So not just physical wellness, but also the emotional wellness and understanding how they're connected. Now, we can't separate the mind and body. We have to treat them together. And so this whole idea of raising resilience is this idea that all kids are going to experience stress. It's an inevitable part of life. And so instead of trying to shield them or protect them, we need to equip them, we need to prepare them. And part of it is these early narratives that we give kids. So if we're teaching them that strong is pushing through and sucking it up, that's what they're gonna do, to the point of burnout. And so it's interesting because I get to see both sides of it. And when I'm working with adults who are saying, I feel so exhausted, I don't know what to do, or I don't even know what I want anymore. To go back to what you were talking about with New Year's resolutions and boundaries and all of that, it goes back to these beliefs that we have. And if we don't get to those narratives, we're not going to change our behavior. So if I have a narrative, for instance, or a belief that I need to people please, well, guess what? I'm going to do that to the point of such extreme burnout, I won't even know what day it is.
So it sounds like New Year's is now potentially an opportunity to reset.
We have to be aware of it. We have to slow down and accept that we're going to have feelings that maybe are uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean they're bad. So often people are scared of discomfort, but growth lies in the discomfort, change lies in the discomfort. So we kind of have to recognize that on the front end and accept it. Yes, this will be uncomfortable. I'm reassessing, I'm shifting, I'm maybe thinking about something I've never thought about. And then we have to let go of this idea that things should be a certain way and look at them as they are. Now, the brain is really tricky because it likes to play with us a little bit. And so sometimes our thoughts can become very distorted. And I think there's a lot of power in just recognizing that. So for instance, the brain can be really stuck in this black or white, all or nothing, absolute thinking. And that comes up a lot in January. I have to go to the gym every single day for an hour for the rest of the year, or I'm bad. I have failed. Well, we've really set ourselves up with that one, haven't we? What if we're sick? What if we have a conflict? What if there's weather issues? Whatever. What we need to do, and part of our healing, is to help the brain find the sweet spot. And this is what I think across the board we all are striving for. We don't necessarily know how to name it, but it's this. I can want better for myself and know that sometimes the way I go about it can be harmful. I can prioritize my needs and know that sometimes my needs won't be met. I can try really hard to care for my physical health and know that some days the best thing I can do for myself is to skip the gym and go to sleep early and say no to something. You know, again, we were kind of hinting at boundaries, but I think a lot of people are struggling with this idea of boundaries aren't weakness. It's not, again, this hustle of I should be able to do more. Look at everybody else who's doing more. But thinking about what's right for you and your family. Sometimes the best thing is saying no. And that no is a full sentence, period. No, I love that you asked us to come. It's one of my favorite things, but this year we have to miss it.
And period, not because X, Y, Z, and oh, can't you move it? You know, it gives them a...
Or the mental gymnastics of, okay, if we get there by 2 p.m. and we bring all of the clothes and then we leave there at 2:45 and hopefully there's no traffic, if you want to do that, absolutely go for it. I don't find that that works for most people. I think that hustle is keeping us in a really heightened state, and it's not good for anyone. It trickles down to the kids. They feel it. They might not know what's happening, but they feel it, and it's keeping us from being in the moment and not being present.
I got a quick question. What's your New Year's resolution? Do you make any? Or nah?
Great question. To be honest, I don't have one. I don't think it's good or bad, so I don't think we should tell people do it or don't. I think it's more so, again, just about really giving yourself permission to tune in and continue to pay attention and adjust as things happen. So not staying stuck in any one place that I've made this commitment and this is what I'm doing, but to modify it and to really tune in to what feels right for you and letting go of the shame that you should be doing it better, and instead just thinking about what you can do that's nurturing and supportive in that moment.
I love it. Great message to leave our viewers with. Jody Baumstein, thank you so much for being with us at the table, and thank you for being with us at the table. We hope to see you next time.